What happens when a duchess with Hollywood sheen collides with Britain's most ruthless journalist? The answer, chaos. Meghan Markle entered Kevin O'Sullivan's studio with a smile of control and left in fury. The producers had promised a polite chat, but from the first question it was obvious Kevin wasn't following palace etiquette. The air thickened. Even the crew froze as the interview turned into a duel. The set was bathed in soft, warm light, deceptively calm. Behind his desk, Kevin adjusted his tie, his face unreadable. The audience murmured in anticipation. Tonight's guest wasn't just anyone. She was Meghan Markle, actress, duchess, and one of the most polarizing figures on the planet. A side door opened. Meghan stepped out, flawless makeup, poised smile, walking as if this were a Vogue shoot, not an interrogation. Kevin rose. "Meghan, welcome. Thank you for being here." She nodded, refusing his hand. "Thanks for having me." The cameras rolled. Kevin's tone was velvet, but those who knew him could hear the knife beneath. "So," he began, "from palace walls to podcast studios, red carpets to royal exits, how's life treating you?" Meghan's smile was cool. "Busy, fulfilling. I finally had the chance to use my voice." Kevin leaned in. "Interesting phrase. Use your voice. Some would say you've used it to torch everything in your past." Her smile faltered, then sharpened. "I tell my story. If that makes people uncomfortable, maybe they should ask themselves why." The audience stirred. Kevin arched a brow. "Let's rewind. You began as an actress. Suits, of course. Then royalty. Now, what's your career?" Meghan tilted her head. "Unlike some, I don't need a label. I'm a mother, a producer, an advocate. Someone who actually does things instead of criticizing from the sidelines." Kevin's grin was thin. "So critics are just noise?" She turned to the camera. "That's exactly what they are." Kevin's eyes gleamed. "Do you miss acting, or did ambition shift the moment a crown was in sight?" "Excuse me?" Meghan's tone chilled. "Simple question." He pressed. "Did love bring you into the royal family, or was it always strategy?" Her nostrils flared. "It's offensive to assume a woman can't fall in love without it being a plan." "Then explain," Kevin said softly. "Why everything since leaving has been about monetizing your royal ties." The studio stiffened. Meghan laughed, short and sharp. "That's a tired narrative. You know nothing about my choices. You judge as if you've lived my life." Kevin steepled his fingers. "No, but you've ensured we all know your version of it. So why, if the monarchy was so toxic, keep the title Duchess of Sussex?" Her jaw tightened. "Because it's legally mine, whether you like it or not." Kevin leaned back, casual, cutting. "So you despise the institution but keep the perks. Sounds more like branding than principle." She shifted in her chair, voice clipped. "Maybe if you spent less time obsessing over titles and more time listening to women, we'd have a different conversation." "Oh, I'm listening," Kevin replied. "I just don't mistake branding for bravery." The crew barely breathed. Meghan's polished facade was beginning to crack. Kevin flipped his notes. "Let's talk about the Queen. You left while she was still alive. Do you regret not being there?" Meghan's lips tightened. "I have nothing but respect for Her Majesty." Kevin's brow rose. "Funny way of showing it. Leaving the country, accusing the family, running to Oprah." "That's not what happened," Meghan snapped. "Isn't it?" Kevin countered. "Because from here it looks like you lit the match, watched the monarchy burn, and then complained about the heat." The audience gasped. Meghan leaned forward, voice low and sharp. "I came on this show expecting professionalism. Clearly I gave you too much credit." Kevin met her evenly. "I expected answers? Clearly I gave you too much credit." They stared, two worlds holding steady in a charged silence. Then Kevin exhaled and straightened. "Let's talk about your relationship with palace staff. Reports say dozens of aides left during your time there. Some described feeling bullied. Any comment?" Meghan's face hardened. "You mean palace spin? The smear campaign that started the minute I asked questions. Kevin's tone was icy. So everyone else is wrong and only Meghan Markle is right? Is that the story? Her smile was thin, all teeth and no warmth. If that helps you sleep, believe it. No, Meghan, Kevin said, voice sharpening. I'm not here to soothe. I'm here for the truth. And your narrative collapses the moment someone challenges it. A hush fell. Meghan turned to the audience with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I don't owe this man, or anyone here, a justification for how I protect my family. Suddenly, Kevin rose. The friendliness had gone. Well then, he said, clipped. If you're not here to answer questions, if you believe everyone else is beneath you, perhaps you'd be more comfortable off this set. A collective intake of breath. Meghan's expression snapped from cool to incandescent fury. Excuse me? Kevin gestured to the side door. This is a show for dialogue, not diva tantrums. Her chair scraped back. She stood trembling with indignation. This isn't journalism. It's provocation pretending to be journalism. And it's pathetic. Kevin didn't flinch, then leave. With a glare that could curdle steel, Meghan turned and stormed toward the exit. Her heels clicked hard against the studio floor. Kevin turned to the stunned audience. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. We now return to regular programming. The lights dimmed. The screen cut to black. But online, the conversation had just ignited. The studio light still shimmered across Kevin's desk as he flipped through his notes, the air sticky with unfinished electricity. The audience sat frozen in that awkward post-clash hush, unsure whether to applaud, whisper, or simply breathe. Then the door swung open. Meghan returned. Each step was deliberate, harder than before. Less entrance, more challenge. Her smile was gone. Diplomacy had been swapped for something colder. Resolve. The crowd held its breath. Kevin stayed seated, pen spinning between his fingers. Well, he said, flat. Couldn't stay away, could you? Meghan paused, then sat with a single decisive motion and folded her arms. I left, she said, because I was being disrespected, dismissed and unsafe. Kevin tilted his head, amused. You arrived here like a presenter at an awards show. Rehearsed. Performance over substance. Better prepared than bitter, she shot back. Kevin leaned forward. You say you left for your mental health, but you knew the cameras, the scrutiny, the duty. Are you saying you had no idea? Meghan's words came like knives. What I didn't know was the cruelty, the racism, the gaslighting. Did you expect me to be destroyed from within? Kevin didn't blink. And yet you stayed. Long enough for a royal wedding, 2 major tours, and a global brand. That reads less like an escape and more like a launch pad. Her laugh was humorless. Is that what you tell women leaving abusive situations? That they profited from it? The audience murmured. No. Kevin said coldly. I'm asking whether you ever considered the possibility that the problem might not be everyone else. Meghan rolled her eyes, sharp. Right, blame the woman. How original, Kevin pressed on. You've accused the firm of smear campaigns and ignoring cries for help. You've painted your in-laws as villains on global television, and now you demand respect. She snapped, fierce. I don't demand respect. I deserve it. The studio hummed with the friction between them. Each line pitched, each counter sharper than the last. Cameras cut in close, hungry for the crack. Outside the lights and the makeup, 2 narratives that had been fighting for the public's imagination collided. Raw, personal, and impossibly public. When the segment finally wrapped, no one walked away comforted. The audience left buzzing. The internet lit up in real time. On set, the air still smelled of adrenaline and unanswered questions. The kind that don't resolve in 60 minutes, and lately, never go quietly. And if people have a problem with me telling my truth, that's their problem, Meghan said, leaning back with a defiant lift of her chin. Kevin's eyebrow arched. Your truth. Not the truth. Her lips curled. You really think you're clever? His smile was thin, blade-like. You think you're untouchable? She leaned in, voice low and venomous. You're just angry because a woman like me, from outside your little aristocratic fantasy, dared to speak. Kevin didn't flinch. His next words cut clean. No, I'm angry because someone with your wealth and platform insists on playing the victim in every interview, the audience gasped. Meghan's eyes narrowed. Privilege? Try being a biracial woman walking into Buckingham Palace and treated like I didn't belong. Kevin nodded slowly. Let's go there. You've hinted at racism, blamed the institution. But never names, never evidence. Convenient, isn't it? Her fingers dug into the armrests. I'm not here to destroy people. I'm here to expose a system. A system, Kevin countered. You married into, benefited from, profited from, until it no longer served you. Her voice dropped, a growl. I married for love. And when love wasn't enough, Kevin pressed, you sold the pain. The words hit. Even Meghan faltered, stunned. You think you're brave? Kevin continued. You torched your husband's family on global TV, turned personal wounds into profit, then demand the world's sympathy. I'm not asking the world for anything, she snapped. He ticked them off. Book sales, podcasts, Netflix millions. Her laugh was sharp, mocking. Oh, please, spare me. You're not here for truth. You're here for ratings. You provoke, you insult, and when people push back, you play the victim. Kevin's eyes didn't move. Funny. That's exactly what people say about you. She shot to her feet but didn't leave, looming over him. You've twisted my words since I sat down. You drag up rumors, distort facts, sneer at everything I say, and somehow I'm the problem. Kevin looked up calmly. Yes. The word rang out cold, unapologetic. She blinked, caught off guard. You are, he said. Not for speaking your truth, but for weaponizing it, then crying foul when challenged. Meghan stepped closer, voice trembling with rage. You think you're bold? You think you're a truth-teller? You're just a bitter little man, furious that a woman like me walked away from your outdated world. Kevin stood. He didn't raise his voice, but his stare was ice. No, I think you want freedom without consequence. Praise without scrutiny. But that's not how it works. Not here. Not anymore. The silence was suffocating. Meghan's eyes glittered. Not with tears, but with fury. She spun away. Kevin's parting words followed like a dagger. If you can't handle hard questions, Meghan, maybe stop signing up for interviews. She whipped halfway back. This isn't journalism. It's arrogance. Then she stormed out, for the second time. Kevin sat back down, exhaled once, and looked directly into the camera. She wanted the spotlight. Now she's angry. It's not a good look. The feed cut to black, but it wasn't over. 10 minutes later, the studio buzzed with nervous whispers. Kevin sat still, rifling through his notes like nothing had happened. Then, the door slammed open. Meghan Markle charged back onto the set. No calm, no diplomacy, no performance. Her blazer was unbuttoned, her stride electric with fury. This time, she wasn't here to leave. She was here to fight. Her hair was slightly tousled, eyes burning with cold fury. She marched to the desk but didn't sit. Kevin wasn't surprised. If anything, he looked amused. Third time's the charm, he said smoothly. Meghan didn't smile. No, this time I finished what I came here to say. Kevin leaned back, folding his hands. Please, by all means finish. She planted her palms on the desk, leaning forward. You think that chair makes you powerful? That you can twist, bait, and manipulate me, and I'll just smile through it? You agreed to this interview. Kevin replied evenly. You knew what show you were walking into? I didn't agree to be attacked, slandered, disrespected. His eyebrow lifted. Disrespected? Meghan, you've been dismissive, sarcastic, evasive since the moment you sat down. Respect is earned, not demanded. Her sneer was quick, cutting. I don't need to earn anything from you." "Clearly," Kevin said. Since bulldozing through questions is easier than answering them, the audience tensed. Meghan's jaw clenched. "You've dragged my past, my family, my marriage. What's next, my private emails? My therapy notes? When is enough, Kevin?" "Enough," he said. "Would be honesty, not the polished brand." "The real story," she scoffed. "So if I don't fit your narrative, I'm lying?" "No," he countered. "But the moment anyone challenges you, you call it an attack." She stepped closer, standing over him now. "You've humiliated me on live television. For what? So you can feel superior?" Kevin didn't blink. "You humiliated yourself the moment you decided every question was beneath you." Her finger stabbed the air at him. "You don't get to question my integrity." "I just did." The silence snapped tight. She spun toward the audience, arms wide. "This is what happens when a woman speaks up. This is how the media treats women like me. Strong, vocal, unwilling to be controlled." Kevin's voice cut through her words, low and calm. "This isn't about strength. It's about accountability. Something you dodge every time you polish your victim story," she whirled back. "You call this journalism? It's cruelty in a suit. And what you do," Kevin said coldly, "is self-promotion in a trauma tale." Gasps rippled. Meghan was trembling now. Rage, frustration, no one could tell. Then Kevin struck the nerve. "What's next, sue me? Call your lawyers? Or record another tearful podcast about being bullied by the press?" Her whisper shook with fury. "You think this is funny?" "No," Kevin said. "Predictable." Her hand slammed the desk. Crack. The audience jolted. "You're a disgrace to journalism." "And you," he fired back, "are a masterclass in self-pity." She glared, breath ragged. "You don't know what it's like to be hunted, vilified, lied about every day." Kevin rose, finally eye to eye. "No, but I know what it's like to face hard questions without storming out." She leaned in, their faces inches apart. "You'll regret this." His smile was razor-thin. "Already did the moment you walked in." Something broke. Meghan ripped off her mic, the cord snapping loose. She dropped it on the desk with a thud. "Enjoy your ratings, Kevin," she spat. "You'll need them to feel important." "At least," Kevin said, adjusting his cuffs, "I don't need a royal sob story to stay relevant." The audience gasped again. Meghan turned on them, voice sharp. "You're all complicit, feeding the machine that tears people down and calls it entertainment." Kevin's reply was smooth, merciless. "And you've cashed checks from every one of those machines. Netflix, Oprah, Spotify. Don't play saint now." Her final glare could have cut steel. Then she spun, heels striking the floor like gunshots, and disappeared through the door for the last time. The silence she left was heavy. Kevin sat, straightened his cuffs, and stared into the camera. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said with icy precision, "Meghan Markle. Proof you can leave the palace, but not the entitlement." The screen faded to black. Silence. Kevin O'Sullivan remained at his desk, arms folded, unreadable. The crew froze. The audience stayed in their seats, as if rising might shatter whatever spell still held. 3 walkouts, 3 returns, 1 storm not yet spent. Then, a voice, caught faintly by the boom mics. Meghan backstage. Her tone wasn't raised. It was cool, precise, venom threaded through every syllable. "Tell him," she said to someone unseen, "that I came here in good faith. Tell him he won't bully me into silence. Tell him he just proved every reason I left that island behind." A producer muttered something. Meghan's voice returned, closer now. "And tell the world," she added, "that Kevin O'Sullivan is exactly what's wrong with modern media. A man so desperate to control women's voices he doesn't even hear how small he sounds." The words carried through the walls. Kevin heard them. His jaw tightened. His face did not. He waited. The audience waited. Then he rose. No cue cards. No notes. Just his stare into the lens. The producer's voice off camera. No response to that? Kevin's lips curved in a faint smirk. Oh, I've got one. A breath. A beat. If challenging contradictions makes me the villain, so be it. But Meghan Markle doesn't fear bullies. She fears mirrors. Gasps broke like glass across the studio. Still, Kevin pressed on. She came here expecting applause. She got questions. She left in fury. That's not journalism's failure. That's entitlement's tantrum. The audience didn't clap right away. Too raw, too heavy. Then, one clap, another. Slowly a wave of uneasy applause, more release than celebration. Kevin sat back down, straightened his papers, exhaustion and triumph flickering in equal measure. This was supposed to be a conversation, he said, voice steady. It became a confrontation. But maybe, just maybe, clarity. He turned slightly, eyes cutting toward the wings where Meghan had vanished. To those watching at home, decide for yourselves what just happened. But know this, he lifted a single finger. This wasn't an interview. It was a reckoning. The screen faded to black. Almost. One final sound slipped through from backstage before the feed cut entirely. Meghan's voice, low, clipped. A promise more than a threat. He'll regret this. One day, he'll regret this. Cut to silence.